The situation is critical. Russia's military strategy now appears to be surrounding the city, which is a key transportation hub in the region. The officer, who preferred to stay anonymous, said his military leadership want to hold their positions at all costs, often leading to the loss of troops and resources. He claims that this strategy was producing several cauldrons, or sizable areas that the Russian military surrounded. One of them is south of Pokrovsk, between Nevelsk, Hernike, and Krasnohorovka. We are not planning to advance towards the city of Donetsk anytime soon, so why are we holding positions near Nevelsk when we're losing Hernike? Said the officer. Far better to retreat to Hernike, he believes, with a minimum loss of resources and hold those positions. Look at the Donetsk region, it looks like a squid. To defend all the tentacles, you need a far bigger number of positions, observation posts. The Russians are attempting an all-out assault, therefore you have to hold back even larger assault units. So, instead of withdrawing and reduce the length of the line they need to defend, brigades get wiped out fighting along the entire perimeter of the cauldron simply because the main criteria of success for generals is to hold positions. Roman Pohorely, an analyst and co-founder of the Deep State map that monitors the latest frontline developments in Ukraine, says Ukrainian troops have now pulled back from the village of Nevelsk to avoid an encirclement. Although the risk of becoming trapped is reduced, the frontline military officer believes that withdrawing should have happened far earlier. Lives and resources have been wasted on something that they couldn't hold anyway, he argues. Russian troops are now advancing towards Kurakova, a city 35 kilometers south of Pokrovsk. Ukrainian forces in that area confirmed the fighting in their sectors has intensified lately. This development is also reflected in the daily briefings of Ukraine's general staff. On Thursday they reported that there were 32 clashes in the Pokrovsk direction and 48 in the Kurakova direction. They're trying to strengthen their flanks so that they can get closer to Pokrovsk, half-encircle it and then start erasing the city to the ground, says Major Serhiy Tsakotsky from the 59th Brigade. Lieutenant Colonel Oleh Demonenko, who commands a tank battalion of the 110th Brigade, claims that the Russians are now focusing mostly on the southern flank, that's the Kurakova direction. Russian troops assault Ukrainian positions with small groups and often they're not accompanied by armored vehicles, soldiers say. They send 2 or 3 people who try to reach a certain point in the field, explains Major Tsakotsky. Then others try to get to that point as well. And when they have 10 to 15 people, they try to attack us. What makes the Kurakova area challenging both to defend and to advance is that it's flat, says Nazar Voitenkov from the 33rd Brigade. We constantly shell fields. Russians lose their vehicles and people. He says his brigade is successfully holding its position on the front line. Kurakova is linked to Pokrovsk with roads that are part of the infrastructure to move troops and supplies on the front line. If the Russians take that city, then they can go north to attack Pokrovsk from a new direction, says analyst Roman Pohorely. Another possibility is that they might attack Ukrainian troops in Vuhledar from behind, he adds. That's a city on the southern part of the Donbas front line that the Russians have been trying to seize since the beginning of their full-scale invasion. Strategic mistakes made in the past mean that there is only one way left to defend Pokrovsk and stop the Russians seizing the entire Donetsk region, according to the officer on the front line. To have another Bakhmut, in his words, referring to the city in eastern Ukraine that Kyiv defended for nearly a year before retreating, with the city in ruins.